Welcome back. We've been talking a lot about how key the legislature will be in determining just how hard of a financial hit LSU will take. The key players are the state house and senate leaders and of course the governor. Here to talk a little bit more about the legislature is Representative Franklin Foyle, who represents District 70. And Representative, kind of tell me a little bit about last legislative session. We've been talking a lot
Sure.
about this coming session, but certainly some things must have gone down last time that has put us in this position.
Well, last year was a very tough year because last year was the first year in several years we had a huge budget deficit, over $1 billion. And unfortunately, there are two areas in the budget that are not protected when you have budget cuts by the Constitution. That's higher education and health care. So higher education took a big brunt of the cuts last year, and luckily at the end of the session we were able to use some rainy day funds, which is some one-time funds, to help plug the hole in that budget gap. But it was still a big hit for the universities. I'm very concerned about maintaining the flagship agenda here at LSU and protecting the investment we have. And so that was a big concern last session and a concern of mine going forward this session.
And speaking about going forward, the governor has proposed his own budget in which the legislature will have to approve, and he has not put any cuts to higher education. What position does this put the legislature in?
Well, I'm excited about that. There's different philosophies. There are those in the legislature that are concerned because the governor is using some other one-time funding to plug in the gap and sort of stop the bleeding, so to speak, of higher education this year. I think it's important that we look for both short-term solutions and long-term solutions. The short-term solutions, of course, are to stop the bleeding, let higher education get leaner, and we have the Post-Secondary Education Review Commission came out with some recommendations that will have some streamlining, which I think will be part of the long-term solution. I'm pleased with what the governor's done to stop the bleeding as far as the budget for this year.
What happens if tuition rates were allowed to be increased for LSU? What does this mean for TOPS, for students who are on the TOP scholarship?
Well, I think that it's a good idea to explore giving some tuition authority or fee authority to the universities to allow some flexibility. And although ultimately the students may be faced with larger fees and tuition, it will be another funding source to help maintain the standards for the university. And if, for example, the tuition goes up, the TOPS funding will go up as well. So students who are receiving TOPS will get that money towards their tuition.
And what can students do? I'm sure you've been hearing a lot from your constituents about this situation. What can students do in this time to let their
Sure.
voices be heard?
I'll tell you, the most important thing and the most powerful thing that I found as a legislator is to have people actually come to the Capitol and voice their opinions. A personal relationship makes a big difference, so I would recommend that the students come to the Capitol, find their personal representative or senator, go meet them and tell them, look, this is very important to me and I want you to support LSU and support higher education. And I find that goes a long way.
A long way indeed. Representative Foyle, thank you so much.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Appreciate
Take
you
care.
coming on. When we come back, Reveille reporter Xerxes Wilson will discuss some of the recent headlines regarding the LSU budget situation. That's coming up next.